What's up, guys? All right, hope you're having a good Sunday. Just wanted to share a quick video, some thoughts I was having. Maybe we can answer some questions. We'll see. So a buddy of mine was telling me, he's been sober for several years now, and was going through some personal issues and was very worried about relapse. It said it hit him really hard one night. He just started thinking about drinking again, and he planned to go to a meeting, and it just so happened this was like the one night of the week there was no meetings in town, and he just knew, it was all about to fall apart. But luckily, some other issues kind of came up and happened, and that got him through that day, and he didn't drink. Okay, so, but he didn't just stop there, right? He actually started working on things. So he decided he's going to do 90 meetings in 90 days. So 90 and 90. He is going to get a new sponsor. He's being proactive. He's not going to just let, chance or luck determine his fate. He's going to do as much as possible to stay sober. And that's what you got to do. You have to put work into your own recovery. It's not going to be easy. There are going to be days where things are going well, but then there's going to be those times where something's going to happen. Somebody in your family is going to pass away, or you're going to get into a fight, with a loved one, a spouse or something. You're going to get in some kind of argument. Maybe your kids do something stupid, or maybe you encounter some type of health problems, or the health problems of someone you love, and it's going to be difficult. And it's going to be tough to stay clean and to stay sober and to face this reality, but it's you can't live life by escaping it. And comfort is a cage, and you've got to face, your demons, and you've got to fight, and you've got to battle. And so some of those days are going to be harder than others, but the thing is, you can't get complacent. You've got to stay active in your recovery. So that was the short story I want to tell you. I'm gonna read a few questions. So, all right. John said, I was a heroin addict for years, on Suboxone for a year. Why do I still get uptight when my wife pays bills? She used to do that, find out how much money I wasted, and don't do that anymore. I still worry. So you still just worry about what? About her finding out something? Or like you're saying, you used to cover things up and you were always kind of worried. So that anxiety is just going to stay in the back of your mind, But the further you get away from that lifestyle, the easier it becomes to be the new person. And that's what I tell people a lot of times with Suboxone, because Suboxone, it'll reduce your cravings and withdrawal and all that, right? But the other thing that it does so well with medication assistance is it gets you so far away from the lifestyle you used to live, where you were lying, you were stealing, covering things up. You're able to actually, to live the life you want to live as far as your value system now. And you don't have that huge weight on you anymore, right? So you get so far away from that old person that you used to be that it makes it more difficult to relapse, because you're not around the same people and you're not in that lifestyle, and it just seems so foreign to you. But I understand, man, you're still worried about what, it's just because of that old life, that old you is kind of still in the back of your mind, and you're worried about that person coming back maybe, or just that, so you said nothing to hide anymore, but you're used to hiding and lying. It's hard to relax. Yeah, man, that's just part of it, man. That's part of that recovery. I'm glad you're not hiding anything anymore. Bringing things into the light makes everything better. Typically, as long as you're not hurting other people by bringing things into the light, right? But it's a process for sure. But I think the further you get away from that, the less anxious you'll be. But I think you've just ingrained some habits from hiding things for years. But man, good for you for being clean. All right, so next question, day 13, Suboxone withdrawal. How do I get up and get moving? I'm in poor health. Okay, so let's clarify. This is day 13, like you stopped Suboxone 13 days ago and you're now in withdrawal from that. And I would also like to know what dose, like how much were you taking of the Suboxone when you stopped? How long were you on Suboxone? Thanks, John. So how much Suboxone were you on when you stopped and how long were you on it? You tapered, good. All right, well, while you're thinking about that, so how do you get up and moving? Look, it's a tough process even with the taper sometimes. So you're on 3 strips, okay? So it's a tough process, but this is completely unscientific, okay? This is not medical advice. There's no research on this that I know of. This is just kind of what I feel like you can expect. After 2 weeks, any symptoms you have should get better by 50% over the next week. So if you have lingering withdrawal or whatever, 50% better in the next week. After that, another 50% better every week, okay? And you think, well, that's not a lot, but it actually is. It's a huge change when you're going incrementally like that, okay? But again, that just seems to be a good rule of thumb. I don't know if that's how exact that is, but you're just super fatigued. I would encourage you to, you're saying you don't have good health. Well, I would work on your diet, and I know you're not gonna feel like exercise, and that's something somebody pointed out. Tell people to eat right and exercise, but once you start withdrawing, you're not gonna feel like getting out and exercising. My point is, when you're in the taper, you need to really focus on your health. Because when you focus on your health during the taper, it makes the taper easier. Like, when you're exercising and eating right, okay? But look, that doesn't mean it's gonna be easy even then, because I've got, I treat folks who, who look like they could, I don't know, stop a bus, with their head or something. I'm just saying, like they're muscular, they're fit, and they struggle too, like everybody else, okay? But just because somebody looks fit doesn't always mean they are, right? So make sure you get enough water, okay? So drink plenty of fluids, but also get your labs checked, because what if your withdrawal was tough and now your sodium's low? And so then I'm telling you, hey, drink a lot of water, and that may make your sodium even lower. You know what I'm saying? Maybe your potassium's off. Maybe you're getting leg cramps because of that. Maybe it's not just restless legs from the withdrawal. But the fatigue's gonna get better, but that's part of the process. Now, sometimes, we've talked about this in other videos, you can have that post-acute withdrawal. Now, it typically doesn't happen this quick, but it can. And that'll hit you and it'll feel kind of like depression and things like that. Now, I would definitely recommend you talk to your doctor. You don't want to have undiagnosed depression and just put it off as it's withdrawal, okay? And so, you want to talk to your doctor. And again, that goes for all these things that we're talking about. I'm just making general thoughts and comments based on my experience. You really need to talk to your own doctor about you specifically, because everybody's a little different. So you have electrolyte issues. Well, then there we go. So get your labs checked. What are your electrolyte issues? Find that out. Figure out the best way to get those replaced, particularly when you're going through withdrawal, because it can make things worse. So maybe it could be as simple as drinking some extra Gatorade, or I'm going blank on I'm going blank on the name, the vinegar stuff. Sometimes taking a swig of that vinegar, what is that stuff called? Somebody will think of it and they'll post it. All right, your skin is on fire. Yeah, it's just part of that withdrawal. It's gonna get, I think it's gonna get better though, okay? But again, get your labs checked, talk to your doctor. Apple cider, yep, there you go. That's what I was thinking. That can sometimes help with, it's got some good sodium and stuff in it, so tastes nasty from what I hear. So you just got to get through that withdrawal. The 2-week mark, you're getting close. Should be getting better soon. But again, the fatigue can last longer. So talk to your doctor. What other questions y'all got? Hey, thank you. All right. Trying to think. So I had another guy. Are we back? Okay. So I had some connection issues. All right. So had a patient who was tapering Suboxone, got to a low dose. They went ahead and stopped it, but they had pretty severe withdrawal, like more so than I think they expected. And this wasn't actually somebody I helped with the taper, so I don't know all the details. They came to me after they had tapered, and then they had to get put back on Suboxone. They ended up getting put on like a higher dose than they were on even beforehand. And so we were just kind of discussing that. So they had only been back on Suboxone for several days, and were already at a higher dose, but they were, finally the withdrawal was gone, and so we discussed going ahead and starting to taper from there right then and do a quicker taper to get to a low dose and just see how they felt. But a lot of that deals with how you feel, as you transition. So if you're, skipping, like you're going every 2 to 3 days, you can adjust based on how you feel, right? But you got to really have a good, I think that's easier for people who've done it before too. They have a kind of a better self-knowledge of how they're going to handle things, etc. So that was our kind of process. We're going to try a quicker taper. He did a long taper, a longish. The first time, again, started having withdrawal, got back on it from another doctor, came to me because he felt frustrated because he was back on medicine, right? But we're trying a quick taper and to see what happens from there. But that quick taper might be, we just get him to a super low dose. And that might be like 0.25 milligrams. And it may be that we stay on that every 2 to 3 days and we just stay there, okay? We stay there for a while and just kind of play it by ear, okay? So, let's see. Okay, so we got somebody taking supplements. They're apple cider vinegar, collagen peptides, greens, B complex, and lots of water. So, I don't know if you've done this after getting your labs checked to modify it or what. And nothing I'm seeing here is striking me as too much. But I will say that sometimes too many supplements can give you some burning to your skin too. But that's probably the withdrawal. So we got somebody else in the comments said that they've been on medicine for 5 years and now they're ready to get off. Good, okay. So it's always interesting how people, everybody's different, and I'll have people that come to me and they are just geared to stop, and we start that process. I've got other people who, they need those few years. Like I said at the beginning of the video, they need those few years to get away from their old lifestyle, almost more so than the cravings. Obviously, if we stop the medicine, the cravings would come back. So that was an important issue with a lot of my patients. But just getting away from the people and the situations and just that kind of the lying and all that, just getting so far removed from it that you can't even picture yourself going back. That's our goal, right? That's what we want. So I'm a little bit different than a lot of times what you'll hear in AA meetings when they say, I'm so-so, I'm an addict. And I understand there's a reason for that, and we have to come to that, mentality, right? But I want to get somebody who they're so far removed from that, they don't think of themselves that way. Now, I understand the ramifications. I mean, you think, well, they're more likely to relapse. Now, this is just more of like a mindset thing. I want somebody to just not even see themselves as that, I just think it's a healthier mindset. So, all right, any other questions, concerns? Let's see if I can go through my comments here real quick. I had somebody ask a question: does a hospital check potential employees for buprenorphine in an 8-panel drug screening and nicotine test? A typical 8-panel is not going to check for buprenorphine, but I can't guarantee you that they haven't added that buprenorphine to it, because more and more drug panels it's kind of becoming more and more standard to have that tested for. So, somebody said, what supplements make, no, it was more like, somebody asked what supplements make skin burn. It's like sometimes when you just have too many vitamins and things. But again, just looking over your list, it's probably withdrawal. But again, talk to your doctor, because there might be, you may not need all that, I guess is what I'm saying. So I'm not always the biggest fan of supplements. I do think you got to have your electrolytes replaced if they're low, though. Okay, so. And somebody asked, do you think after 5 years on subs, should I go to a detox clinic? I mean, I think, explain to me what you mean by detox clinic. Do you mean somebody who will rapidly take you off? I think a slow taper's best. All right, guys, I'm having some Wi-Fi issues. I don't know what it looks like on your end, but we're back. All right, so so the in-house. So yeah, so I'm not a big fan of fast tapers and fast detox. So I mean, I think it has its place. You've been on medicine 5 years. I don't know why you wouldn't just slowly taper, but talk to your doctor, see what you think. So let me know if you missed the answer. All right. What else? Let's see. All right, it's Sunday, guys. Everybody go to church this morning? I played guitar. Okay, I had a person ask a question on one of my videos. See if I can find the question. Basically, it was a guy, and he was tapering, and he was very fatigued, very depressed, low libido. So, you know, even if your libido is not low, if you're a guy and you're on Suboxone or have been on it, and you've got a lot of fatigue, depression issues, you need to get blood work checked, and you need to get your testosterone checked. Because you definitely could have low testosterone contributing to your fatigue and depression. You need your thyroid checked. Women, get your thyroid checked. Get your liver function checked. So have these labs checked so you'll know if something's going on. Make sure you're not anemic, okay? Maybe you got a B12 folate. If you're an alcoholic, you may have a folate deficiency. There's lots of things that can happen from years of self-neglect, we'll say, okay? Self-abuse, or however you want to do it. So now you're in the process of self-care, self-love, and getting better. So get that blood check, man. I know some of you guys don't like doctors. I get you. But I promise you there's some good ones out there. Maybe find like a good family doctor who can kind of overlook everything. Maybe they can write your Suboxone, maybe they can't. Maybe you have to go somewhere else for that, but you can still get your blood checked. Oh, you know, you can talk to them about your depression issues or whatever it is. I think it could be very helpful. So I'm biased, of course, family doctor, but whatever. All right, let's see. What other questions? I'm gonna go back through some old comments. So on some of the videos, we'll be trying some new things. So I don't know if you guys follow my podcast, the Brutal Optimist podcast. You can just go to iTunes, Doc Parks, Brutal Optimist podcast. But I do a lot of those, a lot of the podcasts I'll put it on YouTube with video, different videos behind it. I got a buddy of mine who's doing that for me, putting the videos on it. So I've had some people comment they liked that style. So you can put it on and watch it, or you can just listen to it, whatever. It's a little bit different than some of the other styles of the YouTube videos, where we're talking about, the podcast may be a little more esoteric or philosophical, I guess. So, I had someone comment, said that they were prescribed an insanely high buprenorphine dose by their doctor, and it was basically 2 strips per day, which is not super high. But it just depends on, I guess, your perspective, where you're coming from. And if a low dose is perfect, that high dose might make you feel a little buzzed or a little, off. And so you don't want to feel like that because you're trying to get sober. And so you think of that as a high dose. But you just got to realize that everybody's different. And just because somebody is prescribed 16 milligrams a day or 24 milligrams per day, it does not mean they are trying to get high, or that they're not serious about their recovery, okay? Because you don't know what everybody's going through, guys. I can't get that through enough people's head. I mean, when people say no one should be on this high of a dose, I keep going back to like this one guy, I promise you, okay? He's got metastatic colon cancer. I mean, you don't think his pain should be controlled? Yeah, of course it should. So just realize that everybody's going through different things. And so the dose that's right for you may not be right for everybody else. But I'm glad that this person decided not to stay on that high of a dose because they realized it was too much for them. And that's the thing. You got to know yourself, and you got to know your limits, and work through that stuff. So that's the point of this video, right? Stay active in your recovery. Keep your mind active. Keep thinking about what am I doing now? Like, am I in the state where I'm just comfortable with my medicine and things are going good, so I'm just going to stay here for a little while? Okay, good. Own that, right? But maybe you're in another problem. Most of the folks who watch these videos are in another stage, and they're thinking, all right, I'm going to start tapering now, or I'm ready to stop this medicine. How am I going to do that? What's the best route? And you have to make adjustments as you go, because just because you think one way today, you don't have the same information you have 6 months from now, right? So 6 months from now, you may come to a different conclusion, and that's okay. That doesn't mean you failed or you gave up. You just changed. You just took the new information and you adjusted things. Now, if you're not actually staying active, then in 6 months from now, the decision you make might not be a good one, right? If you're not activating that mind, if you're not getting that mindset right, you're not working out, you're not exercising, you're just setting yourself up for failure. So fatigue. Everybody has fatigue. Now look, when you're in acute withdrawal, that fatigue is different than when you're in post-acute withdrawal, right? And that's when you've got to focus. So if you're in acute withdrawal, it's gonna be tough to exercise. If you're in post-acute withdrawal, you need to exercise. You need to eat right. You need to get enough vitamins and minerals and nutrients to your body. You cannot eat a bag of Doritos and call it your lunch and think that everything is going to feel good, that your gut is going to feel good, or that that your heart is going to stay healthy. It's just not going to happen. And the same with your mind, because we think about eating for our heart, right? Or exercising to either for our heart to keep it going, or for our muscles. But it's also for our brain. So somebody pointed out that don't get on meds, think, okay, I'm cured, everything is going to just land in your lap. It wasn't. It's very true. You can't just expect everything to be perfect overnight. And even when things are going well, you can't expect them to always just stay that way, but that's okay, because we know suffering's around the corner. We embrace that suffering. We face it. We face our demons. That's what this is all about, man. That's like my motto, right? There's demons in life, man. You've got to go into dark places. You've got to hold a light in one hand, and in the other, you got to carry an axe. And you got to chop your way through. Okay? So stay in the light. Stay in the light, go into the darkness with the light, and carry an axe. All right, what else? We're at what, 26 minutes? All right, maybe we'll wrap it up in just a second. Anybody have any more questions before we do? We'll try to do this again sometime. And just let me know if you like this format. It's a little more off the cuff. Trying to get everything leveled. Let me know if the volume was off or whatever we got to do. You know, if you like Pearl Jam, hit the like button. If you know somebody who needs help with recovery, make sure you share these videos and support, you know, the other people who have recovery videos on here. And all right, that's it, guys.